Hello everyone, so today we are under the hood of the Honda Pilot and we are going to be installing this oil catch can. The reason we're installing it is this particular engine of mine has 280 some thousand miles on it, and it's started to have significant carbon issues, meaning the EGR valve, the exhaust gas recirculating valve, and they're called like ant trails or whatever under the intake manifold, where the exhaust gases get filtered through again, has become extremely carbonized. So I'm going to be installing this catch can to help cut down on that. And I'll be showing you guys exactly the process that you can go about installing an oil catch can on your 2004 Honda Pilot. Just for demonstrations, I have removed this top cover on the intake manifold, and you can see there is a significant amount of carbon buildup on it. I have just cleaned it last week or 2 weeks ago, so it's not super bad, but it was completely caked in here. And we can see how just dirty this whole entire intake manifold is. And installing this catch can, not sponsored, installing this catch can will cut down on this significantly, because I'll be catching the oil in here and only the vapors will be going through in here, versus now we can see all the crud that's being sent through from the actual PCV valve down on the rear head, getting sent back through this hose up into the intake manifold. Installation of the PCV valve is going to be fairly easy on this 3.5 liter V6, the J35 series. We're going to follow this hose right here all the way back down to the rear head, and I have removed the PCV valve. You can leave yours on if yours is stuck, but I have just removed this PCV valve and the hose, and then I'll grab a pliers and completely remove this hose, and we're going to be wiring in with a line. Will be going off of that PCV valve. We'll have the catch can in the middle, and then I'll come back to this intake manifold over here. For this project, I went ahead and picked up two hoses. One is like a braided water hose, I believe it's for, and then one is an actual vinyl fuel hose. You will need one that has a inner diameter of 3/8. That is the size for the PCV valve, and that is one of the sizes that comes on my oil catch can kit. So that way it all bolts up, and that is the same size that will be going back into the intake manifold. Which one I'm going to use, haven't decided yet, but this is going to be the hoses that you want to use. For reference, this PCV valve lives right down here where my finger is. There's this grommet. This grommet right here. That is where the PCV valve goes into, and up here on the intake manifold is where it goes up to before installing the catch can. So the way I plan on having my catch can mounted is with this small little bracket. I just used a piece of metal that I had laying around from another project, just bent it, riveted the catch can in backwards, and then right between whatever hose this is, I have the out hose that's going all the way back to this intake manifold on the top, and then this one is coming straight off the PCV valve in the back that's connecting up to the in part. And then all I got to do is just put on some hose clamps, and then it's good to go once I mount this bracket, or once I tighten that one down, and then that's all there is to it. Here we go, all fully hosed up and vacuumed up. We have bracket, oil catch can. This is the release on the bottom for all the fluids. This is coming down to this PCV hose. PCV valve is right there. My finger is where the hose is. Hard to see, but it's right there. That goes into the inside of the catch can. PCV in right here is out. Let's see if it'll focus. Out here, this hose out. We follow it down here, and it comes out right over here. That's the out, and then the in goes down here towards the actual rear head, and that's literally all you got to do for the catch can on the 2004 Pilots. And there you have it. That's super extremely simple DIY of how to install an oil catch can on your 2004 Pilot. I recommend everyone with 3, 4, 5 year Pilots to install these, just because the PCV valve does throw a lot of carbon into the engine, and over time either your EGR valve or your actual intake manifold will have a lot of soot, carbon soot, and might even foul things out. So this takes like maybe half an hour longer if you want to make a bracket yourself, but it's super easy. And then by doing that, you're going to restore even more life into your Pilot, and you're going to have that longevity that you want from a Pilot or any other Honda Acura vehicle. Like this will also apply to the Honda Ridgelines. You got the Acura MDXs, the V6 Accords, things like that. So definitely do this if you want to preserve the life of your engine. Hope you guys found this helpful, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. So I installed my oil catch can, and since that I have pulled my jet ski about 300 miles, 3 hours one way, along with some putting around hour per drive, and then 3 hours home nonstop. So I'm very curious how the carbonization looks like under this intake manifold here, and what the oil catch can looks like. I know there is oil in there because when I got back I just pulled the lever to see if I got any vapors or anything, and quite a bit of oil actually fell out, like poured out. So if there's anything left, we'll see. But let's take off this cover and see how much oil and carbon is actually in the intake manifold. Prior to this trip, I did extensively clean the whole intake manifold, about 6 cans of brake clean worth, and this part here still relatively carbon free. This gasket is getting swapped out anyway, so we don't care what that looks like. But I can see, particularly over here, that there is indeed some oil on the bolts. So I mean, that's to be expected, which isn't too bad. I was expecting much worse. So I'm just going to clean up this area, throw a new gasket on, and then we'll see how much is in the oil catch can, minus the part that already leaked out. So all that would come out was just this much oil. It's like super sludgy oil, but there was a lot of oil in there because after the trip we had come back and I was like, "Ooh, I wonder if there's anything in there." And then when the car was hot, opened it, and it started pouring down. Granted, the capacity is not that big, but I did have to grab quite a few paper towels to clean all that up. So oil catch can is working. Intake manifold is still getting just a little bit dirtier than I'd like, but I mean, what do you want for a car that's 20 years old, which is still pretty good, and I think over time this oil catch can will pay for itself.